Welcome back to Retire Early, Retire Now. I'm your host, Hunter Kelly, certified financial planner, and your guide to navigating financial challenges and opportunities for high-income professionals, especially physicians and attorneys. And today we're diving into a topic that can transform financial futures of many doctors, and that is public service loan forgiveness, or PSLF. And if you're a doctor or you're going through medical school, you've probably heard of public service loan forgiveness. And we're going to dive deep in that today on a bunch of different areas on how to make sure that you're eligible, how to make those payments, what are the repayment plans that you should be on, and how do I get my loans forgiven, right? And so that's the value that I want to add today. So if you're getting to that point where you're ready to start making payments on your student loans, and you think you qualify or work for a qualifying employer, you're going to want to listen to this today. But before we jump in, I'm sure you know someone else that can benefit from this conversation as well. So share this with a friend, leave a 5-star review on your favorite podcasting app, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Hunter Kelly CFP, and go ahead and like this video as well. But let's jump right into it. So, PSLF is one of the most valuable tools available to doctors if you're working in a nonprofit or government setting. Not only doctors, but other professions as well, teachers, sometimes attorneys if they're working for the state or local government, doing different tasks like being prosecutors or whatever that may be, public defender. And so it's designed to forgive remaining balances of federal student loans after you make 120 qualifying payments. Those payments do not need to be consecutive. They can be broken up. But if you make those 10 years worth of payments and you're consistent, basically you're going to get whatever remaining balance is on that. You're going to get it forgiven tax-free, which is awesome, right? And so what loans are eligible for public service loan forgiveness? And that is the first question that you need to answer, because not all student loans are eligible for this particular program. And so how do we know? So direct loans only. These include direct subsidized, unsubsidized, plus, and consolidation loans. So if you have any other type of federal loans like FFEL or Perkins loans, you'll need to consolidate them into a direct consolidation loan to qualify for the public service loan forgiveness plan. And so this is why it's crucial. You got to figure out which loans you have, and you can do this by logging on to studentaid.gov before proceeding with consolidation. It's always good to double check with your loan servicer to ensure your loans will be eligible or are eligible. So once you determine, hey, I do have some loans that are eligible, maybe it's the vast majority of your loans, maybe it's all of your loans, maybe it's a small portion, but whatever that case may be, you may have some that are eligible. The next thing you'll want to do is check and make sure that you're working for a qualified employer. So your employer may help with this, but if you're still unsure, you can always go to studentaid.gov and check there as well. But generally, they're government organizations, state, federal, or local, sometimes tribal government employers, things of that nature. So this is where, if you're an attorney, it may be valuable to hang around, be a public defender for a while, be with a prosecutor, whatever that may be, to qualify for this particular loan forgiveness plan. Other organizations, nonprofits, the employer must be a 501c3 organization, and then sometimes you can get around that, but just make sure that they're a qualifying employer. Most doctors qualify through hospital or healthcare systems that are nonprofit organizations, but to be safe, submit the employment certification form annually to confirm that your employer qualifies. This form is key. It allows you to verify your progress and eligibility as you go. So you don't want to wait until the end and try to shove everything in there and and maybe something is mixed up and you miss a bunch of payments, whatever that may be. So this is a great way to kind of keep track of everything. And we'll talk about documentation and things here in just a little bit. So the next thing, what counts as a qualified payment? So you have some loans that qualify for this program. You're working for the employer that qualifies for this program. So what else? So not every payment you make or not every payment you make will qualify toward PSLF. So here's what you need to know. You need to be most likely you need to be in some sort of income-driven repayment plan, like the pay plan, the repay plan, the IBR plan. The vast majority of the time, the standard repayment plans will not qualify. You could get on a 10-year repayment plan, but then you would pay it off before essentially the same time or before your loan would be forgiven. So that doesn't make a lot of sense. And then if you pick a standard repayment plan that is longer than a 10-year period, then your payment is not going to qualify because generally it won't be high enough to meet the standard rules what they have. So basically you have to have a payment that is at least equal to the 10-year standard repayment plan. So that will not work. So you need to be on some sort of income-driven repayment plan. Payments must be full and on time, so no partial payments or late payments, or that payment will not count. So if you miss a month because you forget or whatever the case may be, that month will not count. So you'll have to tack on another month, and then partial as well would be the same thing. Payments during deferment or forbearance do not count. So if you're in residency and you're still kind of deferring those loans until you get to a point where you're an attending physician somewhere, those payments or deferment would not count towards your time toward PSLF. So let's see here. So essentially, the good thing to do, and most residents do, is they will choose to get on an income-driven repayment plan while they're in residency. One, because their income is much lower, they'll have a lower payment, and then they'll start that clock toward those 120 payments, right? So that's generally a good path to go, is go ahead and get that thing turned on if you're working at a qualifying hospital, and start making those payments through that income-driven repayment plan. Those payments will be much lower, and you could get 2, 3, 4 years worth of payments already on the books before you become an attending physician, and then your income jumps up and those payments jump up as well. So that's a good way to tack on a few easy years. Now, the 120 payment rule. So you must make 120 qualifying repayment or qualifying payments, but they don't have to be consecutive. So if you leave the qualifying hospital, go work somewhere else for a few years, and then come back, you can always reapply or recertify yourself, start making those payments again, and those would count towards your 120. So they don't need to be consecutive. They just need to be paid, and you have to be working full time. So payments need to be made while working full time for the qualified employer. That is generally defined as 30 hours per week, or meeting your employer's definition of full time. Flexibility is built in, but consistency is key to staying on track. So stay at the hospital that is qualifying, keep making those payments is your best bet. So benefits of PSLF for doctors. So what are the benefits? Why would we want to do this? Why would we want to potentially work at one employer for 10 years, whatever the case may be, just so that we can get these loans forgiven? I could just pay them with my income that I'm making now. Yes, you certainly could do that, but this loan forgiveness program can be a game changer for doctors with significant debt. So if you come out of medical school and you have $200,000-$300,000 worth of student loan debt, this could be a potential opportunity to forgive a large portion of those loans. So forgiveness is tax-free. Unlike other forgiveness programs, once this is forgiven, there's no taxable income. So other programs, let's say you had $100,000 left that you got forgiven, likely that would be taxable with other programs. With this one, it is not. The flexible payments during residency. So if you're on those income-driven payment plans, like you would be if you're trying to apply for this program, then your income or your payment is going to be much lower, which if your income is lower, you may not even be meeting the payment to meet the interest, right? So your balance wouldn't necessarily be going down, but you're still working toward those payments. So you may get 4 years of essentially free payments there while you're in residency. So if your debt is high, again, this should be something that you should consider, even if you take a job that may pay you a little bit less at a qualifying hospital, because you could get hundreds of thousands of dollars potentially forgiven if you kind of play this game right? And so how do I enroll? So what are the steps? So I know the benefits of why I would want to do it. I have a lot of student loans. I'm coming out of medical school. I'm going to be working at a residency at a qualifying hospital, whatever that may be. How do I start to get enrolled? So if you're considering PSLF, here's how you get started. So confirm, obviously, your employer, submit the PSLF employee certification form, or ECF, annually and anytime your job changes. So let's say you're at a qualifying hospital, you change hospitals to another qualifying, you want to submit the certification form so that the federal government knows. Choose the right repayment plan. So we won't get into detail on which one or why you would pick one over the other. It depends a lot on if you're married, what your income is, things of that nature. Lots of different factors, and maybe that we can get into another podcast. But you're going to want to choose an income-driven repayment plan, whether that's the pay plan, the repay plan, or IBR. And again, depending on your situation, one may be better than the other. Consolidate if necessary. So if you have one of those loans, like a Perkins loans that does not qualify for this loan forgiveness, consolidate them into a direct consolidation loan. Track your progress. Use the public service loan forgiveness help tool on the federal student loan aid website to track your progress. The last thing would be patient and be persistent. Keep detailed records. And this is where I really want to stop and talk about. Keep records, right? Keep your W-2s, keep your pay stubs, load them into a file somewhere that you know you can get to at all times, because when you go to get your forgiveness, the last thing you want is them to kick back and say, hey, a couple of these payments don't count, or whatever amount of payments don't count. You want to have that evidence so that there's no surprises at the end of the road when you go to try to apply for forgiveness. So what are some common pitfalls to this particular loan program? So while it's incredibly valuable, it's easy to make mistakes. So we want to be extremely detailed. So the first thing is that I see people do, or it's common, they just don't submit their employment certification regularly. So we want to make sure that we're doing that. And if you don't certify your employment, you're at risk for losing progress toward your forgiveness. Switching to a non-qualifying repayment plan. So you may be on an income-driven repayment plan and maybe you forget or whatever, and you move to a standard repayment plan that doesn't count. Then you may be losing out on those payments. So keeping track of your repayment plan, oftentimes not as much in the recent years because of interest rates being much higher, but people refinancing to a private lender. Once you refinance to a private lender, you lose all ability to have these federal loan forgiveness programs. So especially with the public service loan forgiveness plan. So make sure that you stay within the government confines and your income-driven repayment plans, things of that nature. Do not refinance to a private lender. Assuming all nonprofits are qualify. Not all nonprofits qualify for PSLF, so you want to just make sure that you get on to studentaid.gov and verify that potential new employer that you're looking at qualifies for student loan forgiveness. A little diligence, a little bit of detail, attention to detail here can go a long way into ensuring that your loans are forgiven. So, closing thoughts. PSLF is one of the most powerful tools available to doctors and other types of high income earning professions. And so managing your student loan debt is key here. Maximize the benefit. You need to have a clear plan, consistent tracking, and be patient. For those willing to stick with it, the rewards can be life-changing. Obviously, if you have $100,000 worth of student loans forgiven, that's a big deal. That's a lot of money, right? And so this will allow you to focus on building wealth. It'll accelerate your ability to build wealth and achieving your long-term goals, because having to pay off $200,000-$300,000 worth of student loan debt can put a dent in that ability to build wealth. So if you're unsure about your standing or eligibility for public service loan forgiveness, or want personalized advice, please reach out to me on my website, palmvalleywm.com. You can schedule a call. We can kind of talk through what you're going through and see if we can help. So if you know someone that could benefit from this episode, go ahead and share it with them. There are lots of people that can benefit from it. And so again, just a little bit of attention to detail, a little bit of advice can get their student loans forgiven as well. So together we can help more doctors take control of their financial future. And that's what I want to do here on Retire Early, Retire Now. So thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and we'll see you in the next one.